motivation. However, Generation Next, it's a youth movement platform geared towards inspiring, motivating, and directing young people's participation towards responsibilities in the developing society. We are working to raise awareness on issues and challenges that the youth are faced with in order to effect a positive change. Of course, this has gone to show why we're always here, and it has gone to show why we always bring in young people that matters. But also it has gone to show why we do not only dwell on young people, but it's important that we look at the older generation, because it's only through what the older generation has gone through that we, the young persons, can learn, of course, from, and then motivate, mold ourselves to be where we want to be. Most people would say young people are the future leaders, but what kind of leaders do we want to see? It's important. And in doing so, we need the elders to guide us through. So here I am again. I am your presenter as always, Senor. It is that fortnight Saturday when I always come over here. And of course, I always say when I come over here, knowing that I've got my beautiful audience also watching, that alone thrills me. So here I am again. And thank you so much for always joining us. Today, the young person that I have, before I even dwell into that, something just crossed my mind. You see, when we talk about 50-50, I think it's important that we have women come on board and clarify what 50-50 really means for some of the men who do not understand. Because when we say 50-50, that means that we have to struggle even when we are fending for cars, when we are engaged in so many hard work or labor or domain. Men would always try to add in force to say, yeah, you women say 50-50, so I'm not going to leave it. We're not going to leave it to women. We would definitely buy, so long they're buying, we would buy with them 50-50. So it's important that we have women come on board and clarify that. I would have loved to do that, but I myself will not even understand. However, the young person that we have today is someone who I look up to, is someone who I admire, is someone who, when I saw her for the first time, considering the domain that she is involved in, I was astonished. I was surprised, but again, I hold her as an iron woman, because how many women do we have that are involved in such domain? Of course, the narrative is changing, and we're having so many young people who are venturing into what most would regard as male dominant. So it's important that we're having women come on board and not leaving it up to the men entirely. So congrats to her. Let me give a brief bio before I let her say hello to you guys. You can see on my screen, very beautiful face there. And she is Miss Senor Nying. Of course, Senor Nying is a young BRICS professional IT and network technician who has years of experience working in the technology sector. She is a certified diploma holder in Cisco and networking system from the Institute of Cisco Certified Network Associate. It is a pleasure and a pleasure and a pleasure, Senor, to be hosting you today. Okay, for some reason I cannot hear you. I don't know if my audience can hear you, but for some reason from my end I cannot seem to hear you. Perhaps it may have to do with either the earpiece that you're putting on. So maybe you may want to try to see what the issue really is, because I cannot hear you, and I'm sure my audience too are not getting you. So I am excited today. I am actually excited today to know that I'm having Senor to take us through her life journey, and try to, if possible, motivate other young women who at this point might be conflicted as to what career choices that they want to, or may not know what career choices that they want to choose, or perhaps are challenged in one way or the other, or thinking that, okay, it's nice that at this point I may be constrained, but if this career choices have presented themselves, perhaps we can eradicate the mentality that they may have that, well, it's a male dominated field. So it will be important today that we have Senor, we hear from Senor's own perspective in perhaps guiding or try to restructure whoever, whichever young person, a female for that matter, and perhaps having such thinking in their head. Senor, can you hear me now?
Miss John, I can hear you very well.
Fantastic.
Can you hear me?
I've been talking all along. So there you go. Like I said, it's a pleasure to actually have you. So you're welcome to say hello to my audience.
Hello, everybody, and I am very happy to be here. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me, Miss Chaw.
Yes, I am actually happy to be having you, and I'm sure my audience are excited to be having you here today. And I'm sure they can't wait to hear you take us through your career path, but to take us through your life journey as well. Like I said from the introduction, what we're trying to do is not only to look at what you have achieved so far or where you are at this point, but we try to understand how the journey has been for you, how what were the ordeals you have to overcome, because we understand that it's only natural in life you undergo some hitches here and there before you're able to reach at the destination you are. So perhaps you may want to take us through who Senor really is, as to where you started from your humble beginnings, your childhood, if possibly. We want to know what kind of a child you are.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I would say Seno is just a simple person, who has so much passion for this IT and network field. I am just 26 years of age, and I've been in this field for since 2016. Well, I would say this is not impossible, right? This is not impossible. Like I graduated from 2016, 2015. Since then, I sat for approximately 1 year trying to figure out what I want to do. But then my problem is we should try and be telling people, career choices are very important, like putting through people, students, since from the basics, trying to tell them what they should do and, guiding them. Because all along, since when we were very young in classes, when you sit in classes, you ask people, what do you want to be in the future? Everybody will be like, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a journalist, I want to be a nurse. List goes on, but never in my entire life did I sit in the same class with anybody telling me I want to be a network engineer, I want to be an IT technician. I've never had that. So I said to myself, when I sat down with my father, of course, he is my guide in everything I do, even though he's not that far in education, but he's my mentor. Yeah. He'll be like, nothing is impossible, you can do this always. So he would always want to guide me and put me through in everything I do. So he was like, so what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a journalist since then, but then I am not very good in talking. But nothing is impossible. Here I am today trying to do, to say what I've been doing. And, so that tells you, it's everything starts with motivation. Yeah. So he asked me, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to be a network person. I want to be an IT technician. He said, well, but I've never seen you in that field. I said, but I have always wanted to do this because I've been seeing, people on the TV, and whenever I see anybody fix a problem, I am very happy. Like the troubleshooting part, rest of it. I love troubleshooting. It has become my hobby. Yes, from 2016 to date. Yes, I graduated from the Gambia Senior Secondary School, and of course, from 2015 and 2016, I had to go to GTMI, Gambia Multimedia and Telecommunication and Multimedia Institute, Kanifing. So I did my IT from foundation, IT, basic IT, foundation, certificate, and diploma. After that, so I had to go through the A+ process because I want to do networking. So of course, there should be a basic where you start from. That tells you that you are fit to do this. But since then, during my school days and in the Gambia Telecommunication and Multimedia Institute, I've always been in the mix of boys. Yes, I have boys are my friend. All my friends are technicians like me. There will come a time when we go to places like the beach or something, when they go with their wives, if we are sitting, we always talk about our work. They will be like, you guys have no life. You're always talking about your work here and there. That tells you how excited we are and how happy it makes us feel. So it is not something that is impossible, it's doable because I work in a mix of boys and all along, Miss Chol, we work together at the same place. You see me going and coming with boys all day. And you know, it's not impossible. There's nothing that they can do that I cannot do. Yes. Though it all started from a point because I joined them when I had no experience, when I was just from school, you know, but then with the help of, yeah, with determination, I am able to make it today. I am able to host my own team, go out to the field. They will be giving me tasks and I will be doing it. And, you know, everything will come out as it is supposed to be. So that is just the saying like that. I just want to tell them, my fellow girls, that nothing is impossible. And you don't always have to be like, this is not a female job, you know. There is no job that is entitled for male or female, you know, nothing is impossible. Yes, that is what I want to enlighten. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much for that enlightenment. It's important that you said that because I remember from my introduction when I came up and say that because the saying that women would talk about, which is the 50-50 version, and oftentimes how men tend to understand or how they digested that meaning tend to differ from how we would give our explanation or the meaning why we come up with that 50-50. So it's important that if we've got certain women to actually possibly make that clear. I wish I could, but at this point, I don't even understand it myself. And I'm happy that you mentioned that there is no domain that specifically has to do with male or has to do with female, because you are a clear testimony to that, and I'm happy you've sent that across. So on a more retrospective way, perhaps you may take us through when you were in junior school, how was it for you? What kind of a student were you? Were you the one that, because you said you found yourself where you mingle with men a lot, but was this when you were much younger, or was it when you're up to how you are now that you started mingling with boys? How was it for you from that angle? Okay, let me cut you a bit. Now, let me cut you a bit. So no, I think you're gone again. Yeah, I think the audio is gone again. Let's see. Try. It must be some technical issue right there. But before we have you on, before we have your voice come on, uh, just to reiterate on some of the points that you've elaborated, which is very key. And yeah, it's important. Also, the environment or the surroundings plays a key role, because from Senor's narration, she's got to mention that because she happens to find herself within the confinement, of course, of men, and seeing that most of the men that she moves with were engaged in that domain. Can you hear me now, Senor? Yeah. So you okay. I still cannot get her for some reason. However, I will still rebuttress some of the points that she mentioned. So it's important because she's mentioned that the men, she found herself in such domain where men to associate with were into the technical field, and that also helped to inspire her. But again, she mentioned that while in school, she hear school going kids would say, "I want to be a journalist. I want to be accountant," but they never say, "I want to be a technician." So I think that alone is really important to know that it helped to inspire, because I per se also real had been in class where I would say I want to be an accountant, but I never had anyone say I want to be a technician, and that did not motivate me. So cheerio to her, because it motivated her. I don't know if you can hear me now. Seno, can you
I
hear me?
can hear you very well. Yes. Can you
Fantastic.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you
Yes.
now. So fantastic. You were saying, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to elaborate on career guidance and counseling. It is
Yeah,
very important from the grassroots.
yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
Like in the schools, you would never hear anybody say that, but then it is not impossible. It's possible. I've done it today. I go to the field, I drill, I do whatever men are doing, I can do it, you know. That exactly. It's not just because whatever men do, a woman can do. Nothing is impossible. I can do it. Men are drilling, ladies are also drilling, you know. I am climbing heights, I am doing whatever they are doing. So it is not impossible. Yeah. But career guidance and counseling is very important from grassroots. during our school, from the primary school days, teachers should be helping students determine what they want to do in the future and telling them all the things that are necessary and for one to be a technician. I think IT it's very dull in schools. IT is very dull in schools. When I was in senior school, we barely go to even the IT lab. We barely go to IT lab. We don't do any IT. But then all this, like I said, started from when I graduated. I said to myself, why are people not doing this? Is it that when they go into this field, they won't achieve anything out of this? Well, I want to find out because I want to do this, so I'll do whatever it takes so that I can get to the point where I want to go. So this is what motivated me. This is why I am still trying and I would never stop.
Wow. Of course, it doesn't seem you're stopping anytime soon. That is bravery. That is bravery, and I love that about you. Yeah. So I take you back again, because you've mentioned that your father, which is very, very important, because we always say on this platform here that your home plays a key role. Of course, there are three things that plays a key role. Your home having to be the first teacher. And it's important that you've talked about your father being there, being your motivator, being your inspiration. So, of course, you've mentioned that although his education wasn't that far, but he was able to put you to the right spot. So how would you say he has contributed immensely on your education? How would you say?
Miss Sure, that man is a superman, I would say. And my mother as well. Every one of them. They've never stopped in believing in me. They always like, you are good at whatever you do. You focus, you give it your maximum, you give it your time and everything. So he was like, you can be able to do this. I am like, but most of these jobs, because there was a time when if I wanted to discourage myself, somebody discouraged me, I would say. There was this place I had a job interview at. I went to the interview at that place. And when he saw all my papers, he said, this is very good. And he was like, assign me a static IP, what is LAN, what is, man, and all that thing, all the network aspects. So I had to give him all that. He was like, I think you're very good at the objective side, but not the theoretical aspect. That was his first impression that he gave without him knowing. Because whatever he asked me to define, I would define and I would explain, I would give brief explanation about it. He knows this person understands this, but then in the field, can you deliver? Can you do what the job asks of, you know? I said to him, this is what I want. So I will be able to do it. He said, I think the job is very difficult for you. You will not be able to be a network technician. We just have to have you in the office, to be working remotely through, all this let's say team viewers and all that thing. I said to myself, hey, I just graduated, I just finished what I was doing. It was all objective and I need something that is completely practical, because I want to go out in the field so that I will be very good in what I am doing. I said, then this office job is not for me, at least not for now. I'm not saying I want to be in the field like forever. I am a woman, of course. But then I want to, everything starts from somewhere. You need to go to the field to be able to be good at what you want to do and to have a very good experience at it. I said to him that I think this place is not for me. There's no need for me to say the name of the company. It's not, of course, it's not important. Yes, of course, it's not important. Yes, so that was how I turned them down and still waiting for another place. That was how Unique called me. And I'm very glad they did. Yes, of course, and our CEO, Mr. Papa Yusuf Panjai, he's the best. Yes, he never stopped in believing in me. Actually, he even empowers women. He helps women. He will be like every year, he will be like, what do you want to do this year? What do you want to be your focus? What do you want to achieve this year? So that man, he's the reason why I am here today. Because if he has thought like the other person did and not giving me a chance, to show what I can do, I wouldn't have been here today. I joined uni just after 3 months and I was able to go out to the field my own self. I was given tasks, going my own self, leading my own team, and then I was able to deliver, do whatever they asked for, and I come back. And eventually troubleshooting it has been part of me. It is my hobby, I would say. Whoever asked me, what's your passion? I said, my work is my passion because I do it with so much joy and, I am happy always doing this. So this job is my passion, it's my focus, it's my everything.
Fantastic. Wow. I can't seem to have enough of listening. Um, Now that interests me, and it's leading me to a question that I want to ask, which would have to do with earlier on you've mentioned the reason you got into the tech field purely has to do with the fact that while you were in class, you hear students saying, I want to be journalist, I want to be accountant, etc., but never mention something like technical. Would you say that besides being in the midst of men, would you say that specifically was the reason that actually moved you into being a tech person?
Not at all, because all these men, we actually came into the same mix when I finished school. During school days, I wasn't hearing this, and when I started doing IT in GTM, that was when I moved with these two boys. They are my very good friends, and we do everything together. So actually, it's not because I'm in a mix of boys. That is why. I just know that we have the same perspective of life. We want to achieve the same thing. When you are doing something, you have to be together with the people that it this so thing it interests them. You know, so that is how it all happened. I actually had it in mind. I wanted to do it, and when I see that they give it so much, you know, time and everything, so I had to be together with them doing everything. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's a great one. How would you say at this point? Of course, I understand you've been in the tech world for years now. How would you describe your surrounding, your environment? How would you describe people that know you to be in the profession you are? What motivate? What feedback do you actually get from the people within?
Very good feedbacks all the time. People will be like, you are a superwoman. I have different types of comments everywhere. Whenever I go to trouble sitting at places and the banks and everywhere, they will be like, wow, sister, your I would not be able to do this. I am always like, don't say that. Nothing is impossible. I said, I was once like you, and if I have thought like you did, I wouldn't have been here. So everything starts from somewhere. If you just believe in that you cannot do this, you will not never be able to do it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything depends on the mentality and determination. I've given this job the maximum it needs. I've given it all that it needs, the determination, the focus, and everything. And yes, here I am. I won't say I am the best in the field, but I know I am good in the field.
Fantastic. That's really, really lovely. You see, the strength that you have. I remember when I was talking to Mohammed about you, and not only Mohammed, but many people asked me why in particular did I choose you. And then I decided to say, well, considering the fact that, of course, because we are working together, it does not only limits there, but looking at the fact that it's a field that most of us women in particular tend to neglect. Of course, we have a problem if even at large when it comes to technology, not only technology, not technology, when it comes to technical domains, when it comes to repairs, something of that nature, because oftentimes you realize that most of the people that we have when it comes to repairs and that nature, we tend to have more foreigners in particular. But even the foreigners that we have, you barely would see a woman in that domain. So, for the mere fact that we've got you in that technical wall, and the fact that when issues arise, you've been assigned with your team, which you've mentioned, that I've been looking at all those things. So, all those things in combination made me admire your strength, of course, besides being a woman. But again, how at this point would you describe the tech wall? How would you describe it using you as an example with the experience you've got so far for women? How friendly, how uh, uh, condoning is it, would you say? Okay. Okay. Senor, I'm still struggling to hear you again. I'm still here struggling to hear you again. So meanwhile, while you try to fix that audio
Can you
problem,
hear me?
okay, yes, I can hear you. Go ahead. You were saying,
Yes, I was saying like what I was saying.
yeah. No, no, yeah. So I guess the question was how condoning, how welcoming was it to be in a tech as a woman in particular, to be in a tech world? How condoning, how friendly is the environment for you?
It's not hectic at all. It's not hectic at all. To me, it's not hectic, It just depends on the mindset, you know. This this job has so many benefits attached to it. Because let's say if you were working in a bank or you are just a secretary, you just work and that's the end of it. When you close, you don't have anything to do, anything to fix. But whenever you are in this field, whatever you see, this, I want to do this, this has to be settled. It will, you have the zeal to go do researches to be able to solve problems, solve issues, you know. So, and whenever you do this, most of the time you are compensated, you know. So because people, it's the time. Whenever you sacrifice your time going to people, helping them out, they must compensate you most of the time. That is not the most beautiful thing about it, though. I'm telling you that, like ladies, this is not undoable. This is doable. It's possible, Sometimes other ladies will be like, Lini, duma ko muna def, hey, Lee, duma ko muna def, sumalo ko bida fire, and all that thing. And here, see my hands. My hands are still fresh. So, it just depends on you taking care of yourself and you knowing what you want to do and how much you want to go into it, you know. So that is it.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's important for any other young person listening. It does not only apply even to women because the laho Yahoo thing and all that. Even men who are into it. I think, like you say, it's the mindset, but also is how well you take care of yourself. Uh,
Exactly. They'll be saying the fire has smaller hobby, the fire definitely. And I would say it's not impossible. When I started first, I was very drained, because when I just ventured in the field, it requires a lot of going out. You are always in the field. And of course, the son of a and all that. When I started first, when my grandmom saw me, the first time for months when I started, we never saw because I was always busy. I don't have much time. And when she saw me some other time. She didn't even recognize me. I can understand he had side effects, but then that's not why she didn't recognize me because then I was drained and I was much darker. Because that time I was always in the sun and all that thing. He said, Senor, if this work is really not good for you, you can actually stop and you look for something else to do. I said to him, hey, this is what I want to do. So I'll be able to do it. This is just the beginning and I'll be fine. And eventually look at me now. You're always telling me, baby, you are looking chubby, young chubby, so it just depends on how much you take care of yourself. Now you see I am very fine. I am much fresher than when I started. So I am used to it. It's part of me.
Fantastic. Of course, I'm always there to say that, but hey ho, that should not discourage anybody because irrespective of the domain that you're involved in, like I said, it's about taking care of yourself because it matters, right? Here you are in this domain. Most women would say, I don't want to tamper with my palms, with my hands, but it does not necessarily matter what you do, but it's how well you take care of yourself. It matters. Now at this point, I am second to ask, what does it requires, right? Is it that one has to be totally educated? Is it that should in case you or in case your education has not gotten that far, or in case you've not even been formally educated, does it requires all those attributes for one to be a technician, for one to be into the IT world?
Not at all. It depends on where you want to be and where you want to, you know. In this field, whenever you get into it, you will always want to excel. That is life for you. I am still in this field, but I am trying to, update myself. You can tell I am doing courses, I am doing online degrees, trying to bricks myself and all that thing. So it's not just because if you don't excel in school, you have to go in the IT field. Not at all. Most of the IT people do researches. All these works requires research for you to be able to solve a problem. Because whenever you're doing something and you are stuck, you have to go back, from to YouTube, do your research to be able to solve a particular problem. So if you were not educated, you'll not be able to do all this, So it has to go hand in hand. Yes.
Fantastic. That's a beautiful. I asked that because our main focus, generation next, well, it's important. Education gets you far, but how well you go depends on the effort you put in. But also we try to the platform is created where it's not only limited for those who so-called are educated, but also because we know everybody cannot be educated, and since we're here for the youth, then we try to go along with all the masses, but regardless of your education, whether you are or you're not, formally or not formally. So this is why it's important that I ask this question, because
I've said it here before and I'll say it again. I'll say it again. This work goes with benefits, even if you're not employed, like if you're not employed by a company, if you have a little thing that you do, you maintenance, you do PC repairs and maintenances, you fix CCTV cameras, you're paid for it. You understand? This job does not require you to be employed. Even without being employed, you can have your own side hustles and you'll be able to do it, you know. And even if you're employed in the weekends, you have weekends, you can do your own side things. So like I said, it goes hand in hand.
fantastic.
You just wouldn't say that I am not employed, I'm not that much far in education, so I'll not be able to be a technician, or I am not educated. It doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense. It goes with benefit.
Fantastic, of course. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm happy you did. So at this point, what advice would you give, of course, to because we understand the society we're from. I would say, you are among the exception because you've got your father who was there, your mother, they all supported what you do. But really, do we have parents that would actually support such, if not parents, but of course the surroundings that would actually encourage you, knowing well or fully well that the perception that indicates that it's a male dominant or male dominant field, uh, they try to discourage women who want to look up to pursuing that domain. What advice at this point would you give them, provided they have got all the negative comments coming their way? What advice, best advice, can you offer from your experience?
You don't hear it.
Yeah, go on. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
exactly. I said like the saying goes,
Mhm.
one day of rain surpasses a whole year of drought. It's never too late to do anything. This field, it might be challenging, like, but then it's a really good thing, and it's beneficial, it's important, because technicians are always trouble solvers, you know. Bankers will be there sitting at their own mix. They will not be able to do transaction. Clients will be standing. But then sometimes when a technician comes with just one click, you're able to solve the problem and you're able to put everybody at ease. So this shouldn't be a limitation, and it shouldn't be just said it's a female, though it's a male dominant work, but then female, I have seen ladies that excel in this, ladies that have been doing this. So yeah, that is just what I have to say.
Fantastic. So at this point, I'm sure anybody who is joining us may be wondering, what are we talking about? So can you take us through what you do, to be precise? What is it that you do, to be precise?
Yeah, Senor is an IT and a network technician. Yes, I I would say I do a lot of things. Even the things that I've never done, I would just sit and do it, because whenever, like I said, research, the work goes with research. I am an IT and network technician. I do, I go to the field, fix Wi-Fi, troubleshoot for clients. In contrast, I solve problems. Yes.
Wow. Well, there
Yeah,
you go. So this is for men that think that women don't solve problems. Most men would say women will cause
exactly.
problem. There you go. Mm-hmm. Senor.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you so much. It's actually great to have you give your narration in that regard. This has gone to give or to be a great testimony. Okay, I'm talking too much at this point. What I'm gonna do is, because Mohammed is on my neck, so I have to read this. Otherwise, it's not gonna go well. Yeah. So we've got Ma'am Jatu Sane on our Facebook page. Of course, she says lovely and educated. That is her comment. But also we've got Gajaga. Senor, I don't know if you followed our discussion. We had Gajaga here on the platform as well, where he also shared his life journey, and he is a journalist and he's doing well as well. And he says your story is inspiring. So he's saying your story is inspiring and you should keep it up. Best wishes, he says. Yes. So
Thank you so
so
much,
Mohammed,
Kevin.
I've done justice now. I think I should be fine. So Senor,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Now, what general advice would you want to give at this point, because you're still moving, you're still a young person, and you've mentioned people that have helped you. You've also mentioned that your first interview, the interviewee, of course, thinks because you're a woman it was not going to be possible. That is so shame of him to think so. But you've
Yeah.
mentioned also Papa Yusuf Anjai, who is of course the CEO of Unique Solutions. You've mentioned that he has been really helpful, and that he also inspired women, which kept you going as well. That is what we need. We need more of, like I said, more of the older generation to help push us. Because at some
Mhm.
point, look at the first interview that you had with what that guy, the interviewee said. That alone is discouraging. So it's important when we have other young elderly people guide us through, because if they do not guide us it becomes a problem. Some of these fields need people need to feel some of these fields, because you if we don't have any technician, if we do not have any repair guy, then when your phone goes has a problem, who is going to be there to fix it? When your TV,
Exactly.
when some of the tech things that you have has a problem, who's going to fix it? So it's important that we encourage not only men, thinking that of course because the men dominated field, men are to dominate that field, but also encouraging women, which you've mentioned so far that some of these people you've mentioned inspired you. Uh, what would you have done in an instant where the motivation wasn't there? Are you the person that if you're not pushed, you don't go? Or are
Not
you
at
the
all.
person that without that you would still go?
Without that, I would still go, babe.
And what
Without that,
what
I would
what would
still
keep you
go.
going? What would
Uh,
keep you going?
Of course, I can do my own side things. I can do, like I said, I can always go further with my own contracts and doing things all by myself, even without being employed, you know. So this is the beauty of being a technician. This is the beauty of being in the field. This is the beauty of a field worker, you know. You're always in the mix of everything. You're able to do everything, with just a simple click. These are things that we need in our day-to-day lives, you know, because even without the Wi-Fi, this Zoom meeting that we're having today wouldn't have been possible, So exactly, these are things that we need. And of course, I am always in the field to fix people's problems, So nobody should be limited. Nobody should be limited, and nobody should be discouraged. Yes, Papa Yusuf Njai is a superman. I am saying a very, very big thank you to him. And yeah, I am always praying for him.
Oh.
Always. I wish he heard this. He hears this.
I would definitely make sure I share this interview, and
Mm.
hopefully he would watch it and get to hear that. Of course, I would attest to that. He is indeed. So at this point, of course, like I said, you're still young and you're still growing into the business. What would you say you would need to get you to the highest of heights? What would you say at this point you would need? Because of course, the platform happens to be a platform where we have anybody could watch it. So anybody who may be listening perhaps may want to hear that. So can you share that?
Just a simple click, a support would do, like trying to support, like our CEO is doing, trying to help us, through our educational journey, sponsoring BSCs and, yes, I want to go that far. Though I am having a BSc online, but I will need to have another one in telecoms that is intact with my job. I want to go so far in this. I'm not willing to stop any sooner. No, we are in this together. So we just proceed. We just go forward ever,
Backward,
backward
never.
never. Yeah.
So maybe to put things in it in a more logical perspective, in Gambia here, who do you envision yourself? Who would you cite that you would want to be uh, in Gambia here? Someone who perhaps is doing remarkably well. Everybody knows for their exceptional work. Who would you then look up to that you may want to be in your career? Anybody?
This example is not far from me. I
Yeah.
will give a lady who is in our own midst.
Yeah.
You can take an example from it. Fat Seka, she's she's the network engineer, the civil network engineer. Like as we speak, she's out in somewhere studying, she is giving this work so much attention, and she's always like, this is not impossible, you can always do this. She's always been supporting also, so she has also been very good. She is in the field, though she will be like, Sino, Madam Snap, you demulo research, yang fi this snap and all that thing. But then, hey, yes, she's a superwoman too. Yeah, she's a superwoman.
Inshallah. That's very good. Hopefully, we would get to have Fateka one day on the platform. It's
You
important
really
that,
should.
yeah,
Yeah, you
obviously,
really should. Yeah.
obviously. Thank you so much, Seno, for sharing. At this point, I will let you, perhaps there are things that I've not asked you that you may want to share. Go ahead if you wish to.
I do not have anything to share
You
for
don't have
now.
anything to share, you sure?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure actually to have you on this platform. Of course, I don't want to take much of your time because I understand you have other engagements. Once again, we appreciate the fact that you were able to come here on Generation Next and help us in pushing other young people who perhaps are challenging one way or the other. But like you say, there is no job that is meant to be a male's job or a female's job. A job is a job so long as paying the bills. I think
Exactly.
exactly. So it's important that the young people who are watching this program understands that. And of course, if you're challenged in any other way, know that we have other people who are willing to help. It doesn't
Exactly.
necessarily mean that you need to put in some financial some financial means in order to get the help you deserve. Reach out if you're challenged in any way, but also I always emphasize here too, if if in case your surroundings is not that motivational, you've got the internet.
Of
You've got
course.
even at school. Yeah, sure. So you can always reach out on the internet, but also you can also reach out on Generation Next in case you're watching this program and at some point you require help. You're always welcome to reach out. After all, together the country becomes a better place for all of us. So no, it was a pleasure and a pleasure and a pleasure. We appreciate you here on Generation Next, and the Gambia appreciates you. At least people get to know that yes, we're having lots of women in Gambia, Gambians who are into the tech world, who are doing repairs, who are into automobile, and we will get to bring all of those women here. Not only women but men, because our main focus it's all of us, humanity at large. So thank you once again. It was a pleasure. And thank you to my Eva Mohammed, who is always here, making sure that the program is aired and goes properly well. And to our beautiful audience who are always following and commenting on our different social media platforms. We appreciate you. We see you. And thank you. Thank you. Until we come your way again. It's a cheers from the entire team.